Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Talking Housewives with Dee. I'm Dee, and today we are talking about The Real Housewives of Potomac, Season 10, Episode 10. And I will say, this episode was just okay. A lot happened, but, also nothing happened, if that makes sense. I want to say it was a filler episode, but, stuff happened. I don't know. It just it was a lot of scenes. Again, a lot happened, but nothing happened, if that makes sense. Yeah, but it was an okay episode. It wasn't as good as the past two, but it was okay. So let's just hurry up, jump right into it. So we start this episode off with Gizelle about to buy a new G-Wagon. She wants the electric car. So they're at the dealership, and then Wendy meets her there. And then Wendy says that her lease is about to be up and she wants an electric car, and she might copy Gizelle, and she's letting her know in advance so they won't have another Stacey situation. Stacey just be copying everybody. That's my girl, though. So Gizelle asks Wendy, how do you feel about your girl Stacey? And Wendy says that sometimes people like what you're doing, and instead of telling you, they end up mimicking you. And Wendy mentions that Stacey reached out to Wendy's stylist and asked her stylist if she could style her. And okay, you guys all know how I feel about Stacey. I feel strongly about her the way I do about NGK on Salt Lake City. I love them. But I'm not okay, that's weird. That's weird, right? How Stacey would just reach out to Wendy's stylist, and then she did the cannabis thing. And do you know what I mean? It's a little strange, isn't it? And I like Stacey, but even I like it. I paused. I paused for a sec. I said that's a little unusual. I don't know. Okay, so Wendy says that she doesn't think that Stacey is a bad person. She says she thinks that, she's really sweet. And Gizelle said, okay, well, I'm going to let you have Stacey. Wendy says that she likes Stacey, but everyone just keeps jumping on her. And Gizelle says that it's valid. She says that Stacey is a big fat liar and everyone has issues with her. And she doesn't understand women that move like that. And she says that snaky. I was mixing Stacey and sneaky up and it got snaky. That's crazy. She says that Stacey is sneaky. And Gizelle says she has no energy for Stacey anymore and she's going to take a step back. Thank God. Thank God, because it's tired. We're bored of it. Move on to something else. I see next episode they're going to start picking on Angel and calling her broke. So, God, we're picking on Stacey and Angel. Let's move on to someone else. Why don't we pick on, I don't know, Gizelle? Let's pick on Ashley. Fuck it. Let's pick on Ashley. I want her off my screen. She has no storyline, and we'll get into that in a second. Get her off my screen. Okay. So they go test drive the car and they bring up Karen, and Gizelle says that with Monique back, it's they're getting the whole gang back together again and they need Karen. And then Gizelle asks Wendy how it was, seeing Monique, and Wendy says that Monique is nothing but light and positivity now, which I do believe that Monique is a changed person, but also she needs to act like light and positivity, because she beat Candace up. She needs to get back on the show. She gotta be nice. And I love Monique. So Wendy asked Gizelle how does she feel about Monique, and Gizelle said that she doesn't know and she wants to sit down and talk to Monique. That scene is crazy. Okay, we're gonna get into it. So now we have Stacey and her friend AJ. They're sitting down and they're talking about the launch of her cannabis brand that's happening the next day on Juneteenth. Stacey says that she's the first Black woman in Virginia to have her own cannabis business, and she says that when she mentions it to the ladies, like they just like they don't give a shit, you know. Stacey says that she's not in the best terms with the group, and she sent everyone a text inviting them to her launch, and she doesn't know who's going to show up. So they start talking about the whole situation with her, Monique, and Chris, and how Stacey was possibly dating Chris, and they're accusing her of calling Chris. And they talk about how it's basically Ashley and Kay are the ones that's keeping this thing going. And AJ says their old asses need to stop. And I agree. They need to fucking stop. This is so dumb. Like he says it's dumb too. It's so dumb. This is such a non-storyline. Sorry, y'all. That's my dog in the back. So, yeah, I think they're just, like, Monique doesn't even care about this. And they just, I don't know, it's so stupid. AJ was dumb. It's dumb. Sorry, no, AJ was right. It's dumb, not he's dumb. So Stacey talks about how Tia tried to come for her. And AJ says, you don't let someone come from across the pond and read you. And he says that maybe you should start sticking up for yourself and you need to put your foot down and check them. And Stacey says she's non-confrontational, but it gets to a point where enough is enough. And then we see Stacey put her foot down at the end of this episode. Oh, Lord. Lordy. Okay. So now we're at Tia. And Tia's at work, and she talks about how she grew up filthy rich, and then the money kind of all went away in the 80s. Her dad wasn't very good at investing. Then she goes outside, and she calls Stacey, and they talk, and they agree that they need to meet up and talk because the situation that happened at a reasonably shady podcast party was just not cool. It was just way too many people there. It was overblown, you know, and that's not how they want to talk things through. So now we have Ashley and Josh at an arcade, and like it was, I'll just tell you guys, Ashley broke up with him. She broke up with him on camera. Ashley says in so many words that she wants a rich man and Josh isn't the man for her. She needs someone to take care of her and take care of her family in case she's not able to take care of them. So Josh just isn't that person. Ashley says she's used to men renting out restaurants and taking her on private jets on dates. And then they show a picture of her and Michael with a dolphin. Like, I feel like the editors are being shady. Like, that's her ideal of a luxury date. Them swimming with dolphins at a resort. But yeah, she says that she's used to that, and Josh is just not doing it for her, you know? Like, they haven't even went on any trips or anything like that. And they've been dating for a year, which I'm a little confused because remember, she was on Love Hotel with Ralph growling in her ear. That was, oh God, that gives me like, so creepy. Ralph in general is just like a creepy man. Like, remember, I love the old men. I love an older man. I get it. But Ralph was just, he gave me such the ick, man. Oh my God. He reminds me of some guy I was dating. That's probably why. Like I can't even think about it. So yeah, I'm trying to figure out how they've been together for a year when she was on Love Hotel with Ralph and Wale. But yeah, whatever. She breaks up with him on camera, and then he's like, "Can I walk you out? Like this is an episode of The fucking Bachelor." Whatever. So we're done with them. So now it's Monique and Gizelle. They're sitting down to have a little talk. Monique starts off by saying that a lot has happened, and she really had to look back. And she was like, "Why am I mad at her again?" Talking about Gizelle. And Giselle's like, "Oh, really?" And Monique said that she was too busy being the victim and being mad at everyone else. Okay, I'm going to give you my thoughts about this thing when I'm done talking about it. Okay. So Monique starts talking about her divorce and how she's made peace with everyone except for the situation with Gizelle. And she said when Ashley brought her back into the group, she thought it was a good opportunity to squash things with Gizelle. But it doesn't mean that Gizelle is off the hook. And Gizelle says, yeah, I know, but like, what have you reflected on? Tell me. And Monique says that Gizelle has a tendency to be in people's relationships. And then she brings up the trainer situation. And then there's flashbacks of Gizelle absolutely insinuating, and I wouldn't even say insinuating, it's like she straight up said that Monique was having an affair with her trainer. And then remember they were talking about like the baby may not be Chris's, it could be like the trainer's baby or something. Like that was real fucked up. So Monique says that Monique says, since you wanted to attack my situation, I'm going to attack yours. And then that's when they show the flashback of Monique with her binder calling out Jamal for being a whore and faking everything for TV for Gizelle. And then Monique says that when she saw Gizelle's daughter at the Pride event, she felt so bad because she never wanted to hurt her children. That wasn't her intention. Gizelle says when it comes to the situation with her and Monique, she felt that there was a real life hate coming from Monique more than it ever was coming from her. And then Monique was like, I wouldn't say that you're all the way innocent. And Gizelle was like, no, I'm not innocent. And then Gizelle says she has felt sorry. She didn't say I'm sorry or I apologize. She said she has felt sorry. And Monique accepts that apology, if you even want to fucking call it that. She says, thank you for that. Gizelle didn't apologize. She said she felt sorry. She never said, I'm sorry. And Gizelle says that she felt like Monique was in a situation where she was ready for any drama. And the situation at the barn, she thinks Monique wanted that to happen. Monique says that, she had a mountain of shit piled up, and all it takes is for one person, to really just knock it all down for her to explode, and that she regrets handling things the way that she did at the barn. Gizelle says she was trying to figure out who was the person in Monique's ear that had her acting crazy, and she was just going to blame it on, her husband. And Monique says that, it was pressure trying to keep up this image. And then Gizelle says she wanted to come into this lunch like, F you, Monique. And then they start laughing, and they both agreed that they're happy that this conversation happened. And then in the future, they're just going to talk things through. So let me tell you my thoughts on this. Gizelle obviously didn't apologize. I really don't think Gizelle thinks that she did anything wrong. I truly don't believe that. I think she thinks Monique is a hothead and like dangerous. Remember she had that security guard and shit when Monique got into that fight? Like ridiculous. It's very clear that Gizelle doesn't like Monique. And it's very obvious that Monique is trying to play nice because she wants to get back on the show. She couldn't come on the show after she done dragged Candace and, still be like how she was, when she was on the show. She has to come in playing nice, taking accountability for everything. I feel like Monique was just basically absorbing all the blame, even though, she kept telling Gizelle that she's not innocent and, she's not off the hook. It very much seemed like Monique was just taking the blame for everything, trying to play nice so that she could be back on the show. I think next season, if Monique is full-time and back on the show, she's not going to fuck with Gizelle, and I can't wait to see it. Because Gizelle was absolutely not sorry. She wasn't. All right, moving on. So now is Greg, Kay's mom, and Angel shopping for an engagement ring. Yep, that's the scene. That's the scene, you guys. It was some very beautiful rings, very expensive rings. Kay is a beautiful woman. She deserves the best. And we're just going to leave it at that. So now Ashley meets up with her sister, and they're doing some shopping for school. And Ashley says that, growing up, her and her mom had nothing, and her Uncle Lump stepped in and really helped them out financially. And she says that she wants to be able to do the same with her sister. So this is the sister that who's, okay, Ashley's mom, she's with that deadbeat alcoholic man that she's been with for years, that she has to work 12 and 14 fucking hours a day, and he sits on his ass high and drunk, him. That is this girl's dad. So this is Ashley's half-sister. And Ashley wants to be there to support her, since her dad ain't shit. And her mom is too busy working and won't leave that man. So they had like a touching moment where her sister just completely breaks down, and she says, she put her foot down about her dad and his drinking, and then she tried to get him help, and it's just really, really hard. It's a very heartbreaking moment, and it kind of goes back a little bit. Now listen, I'm not defending Ashley. I don't like Ashley. I want her off my TV. But it makes sense why Ashley wants someone who has a lot of money, because she doesn't ever want to be in a situation where she cannot provide for herself and her family. She does say she has a lot of people depending on her. So that's why she wants a rich man. So, like, I get it. Unfortunately, I get it. So yeah, that was that. Now we have Wendy at the Happy Eddie pop-up shop, and she wasn't invited to Stacey's cannabis event because Stacey said it would be a conflict of interest if Wendy goes. Wendy doesn't give a shit. She said, like, Stacey already got all the information needed from me to copy me, so I'm good. So at this cannabis event, Gizelle did not show up, and Kay and Angel didn't show up. Giselle's like, no, thank you, I'm not going. So Tia is there, and Tia asked Stacey, where's Timu? And she said he's traveling, like he always does. And I wonder, do you guys think Timu is really traveling, or is he just at home with Arabella? It's very obvious that man doesn't want to be on camera, which is why she lied about it, and he doesn't want to meet the women. But I wonder if he was really at home, or was he on the plane somewhere? So now Ashley comes in, and her and Stacey are looking just like twins. They got the crimped hair and everything. It's strange. And Ashley's like, "Oh, Stacey, I wore this dress last week," and it shows a video of Ashley wearing that dress walking down the street last week. And I wonder, do you guys think Stacey is like hitting up Ashley's stylist too, and they're putting them in the same clothes? That's why they were in 2 of the same outfits. You guys think so? I wonder. So Stacey pulls Ashley to the side and tells her that she is always focusing on the negativity with Stacey instead of concentrating on how they can move forward. Ashley says because there's always instances that make her see Stacey in a different light. Stacey says everything that she has been accused of lying about, she has shown proof that she was in fact telling the truth. Even with the whole thing with Monique. And Ashley goes, Monique is choosing to let it go, and so am I. Why are you letting... Ashley, this has nothing to fucking do with you. You are not involved in this. Monique doesn't give a fuck. Why do you give a fuck? Like, why are you so pressed about this? I don't understand. It's weird. It's so fucking weird. Oh, God. Get her off my screen. So... Stacey says even Wendy supports her business, the cannabis line and everything. And Ashley says, listen, I have no problem with your business, but I also don't want you to be a lying ass hoe. Get her off my screen. And Stacey says, I'm asking you, woman to woman, you need to stop. And Ashley says that Stacey needs to stop too. She always starts at ground zero with Stacey, and then Stacey gives her something else. So she's like, if you stop giving me something, I'll stop talking. Ashley, what? I'm confused. Okay, Stacey, you guys accused her of lying about TJ. TJ has still not shown the receipts. All he's shown recently was a piece of paper with Stacey's signature on it. It didn't even look like a real contract. It was so dumb. If he had proof, he would have provided it when the reunion aired earlier this year, like in what, fucking January, February. And then you guys accused her of lying about her divorce. She is divorced. She shown proof that she is. You guys accused her of lying about the cannabis brand, which, yeah, she did. She lied. But Wendy doesn't give a fuck. So it's fine. Whatever. She doesn't care. And then you guys accused her of lying about the Chris and Monique thing. She was proven that she did not tell Chris. And then she lied about the Wendy and Tia thing, which Ashley wasn't even involved in that. So like Ashley, what's your problem? You need a storyline. You're lashing on to Tia, not Tia, Stacey. Like, come on, stop. It's weird, and I don't like it. Anyways, Stacey says, you're going to stop talking and allow us to start at ground zero. And Ashley says, yeah, if you stop lying. And then they try to agree, and then they're like just talking over each other, like, no more lies, no more hazing, no more lies. It's just very ridiculous. So now, okay, I love Stacey. This is where she loses me. She loses me in this conversation with Tia. Okay. So they all sit down in a room, and it's like a backstage room or something away from the whole event. Ashley tells Stacey that she wants Stacey to know where she's coming from. She says she's been part of this group for 10 years. It has always been authentic. And she's had her feet held to the fire. Yeah, because Candace and Karen, those are the only ones who hold your feet to the fire about your creepy ass husband groping the crew and all that and cheating on you and like, okay, weird. And she said like she's had her feet held to the fire, and that's just how they get closer as friends. Stacey says she's learning that, and she's hoping that there's a way that they can understand each other. So then Stacey turns and starts talking to Tia, and she explains how she introduced Timu to Tia because she was neutral. And then Stacey brings up the phone call with Wendy and how Wendy called her, and she's like, why aren't you here? And Stacey said she never agreed to be there. And then she hears Tia in the background saying that she's full of it. So Tia says that she said that Stacey was full of it because she told Wendy that Timu had just flew back, and that's not what she told Tia, which is true. Stacey and Timu told Tia that he was leaving the next day, not flying in today. So, I mean, we all know that the reason why Timu said that he was going to be out of town is because he didn't want to meet these ladies. We know this. It was very obvious. Stacey was covering for him. It was a white lie. Okay. Now, Stacey should just, again, I said it before, she should just stuck with the lie. But, you know, she lied some more, and then it got complicated, and that's why Tia is mad. So, okay, Stacey said she declined the offer, and the issue is with her comfort level with Wendy and Eddie, and it's none of her business. Stacey keeps trying to talk, and Tia keeps like trying to talk over her. Stacey's like, let me finish. And then she says that Timu has only seen a glimpse of Eddie and Wendy, and it was from a very hurtful personal moment from the reunion. Remember, they were saying that TJ said that Stacey paid him and blah, 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 whatever. She says the reason for her not being at that dinner was because Wendy and Eddie, and she says she thinks that Tia doing this is an attempt to fit in with the group, and she's trying to play catch up, and she oversteps. Tia says, okay, I'm going to tell you why I'm upset with you. She says when she came into the group, she heard things that were alleged against Stacey, which meant everyone was telling her that Stacey was a liar. She said she gave Stacey the benefit of the doubt. Meanwhile, Stacey is calling her, talking about, you need to have my back with these ladies. And Stacey says, I've never said that. You're a liar. And Tia says, why are you trying to hijack this conversation? Stacey says, go on. Tia says, I will if you would just shut up for a second. And then Stacey's like, you're not going to tell me to shut up. See, this is the real her. She's going to play prim and proper. And then Tia says, I don't need to play Detroit. And these women keep using Detroit as an insult. And it's not really sitting right with me. Like, okay, weird. Tia says that she has extended her manners, and Stacey says that Tia has been acting unladylike and she wants to fit in so bad. And Tia says, you're the one that's been in this group for a year and you still don't fit in. What does that say about you? And then Stacey says that Tia's a tryhard, just like her fashion, and says, get your ass up out of my event. Get up. Toodle-doo. And she like points to the door, and then Tia leaves, and then she just, as she's leaving, she's telling people how awful Stacey's cannabis is. And yeah, that was the end of the episode. So again, I am a Stacey fan, but what Tia was saying was the truth. I don't think Tia said anything wrong. She really went in there trying to solve an issue with Stacey, and Stacey just completely just blew up on her. Tia didn't come in yelling at her or nothing. I really think that she wanted to like solve an issue. But Stacey just, I don't know, I think she took AJ's advice and was like, you need to check them, and she tried. And yeah, that happened. This wasn't Stacey's best moment. I wish she would have kicked Ashley out. That's who needed to be kicked out. But yeah, let's go ahead and rate this episode. I'll go ahead and give it a 6. It was an okay episode. Like I said, not a lot going on, but also, yeah. It's like, yeah, it was, but not really. So yeah, I'll go ahead and give this episode a 6. That's it. Thank you guys so much for listening to me yap about this. This was a lot going on this episode, but nothing. So yeah. Let's see. We have Salt Lake City. That comes on tonight. Then we have Beverly Hills. If you guys haven't watched those, go ahead and check it out. I just started Beverly Hills last week, and it's okay. The best is right now is Salt Lake City, and then Potomac, then Beverly Hills. But yeah, all right. Thank you guys so much for listening. Like and subscribe if you like this, and I will see you in Salt Lake City. Bye.